Hi, this is Amy at Amy Common Sense Southern. I hope you're having a great day today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I do healthy cooking and lifestyle videos with a little bit of a focus on WW since that's how I lost most of my weight, but people who are working on all kinds of plans are welcome. I'm excited to bring you this video today because I'm going to be cooking beets. When I was a kid, the only beets I was ever exposed to were pickled beets that my dad absolutely loved, and I didn't really like them so much, and no one else in the family did either. It wasn't until I was a grown-up and someone told me how to make roasted beets when I was really into learning more about doing different kinds of roasted vegetables that I learned a way to make beets that I think you'll really like too. So if you're interested in learning how to make beets that you will love and a couple of things you can do with them, stay with me. I've assembled everything you'll need to make this beet recipe from start to finish. So I have the beets themselves, of course, a cutting board, a good knife to cut the tops and the root ends off, some small pieces of foil to wrap in each beet individually, some good olive oil that you'll need to rub the beets with before you wrap them, and you'll finish the beets with some kind of a balsamic vinegar. I've chosen a lemon balsamic vinegar, but you can pick whatever you want. It can be plain balsamic or whatever appeals to you, and then a foil-lined pan because these might leak a little bit and you don't want those all over the oven. So let me go ahead and show you exactly what you'll do. I've cut all of my beets away from their greens and scrubbed them and dried them off just like you would if you wanted to make baked potatoes. The next step is to cut the root end off and the greens end off, just like this. And you don't want to cut too much off. Now, you will get red juice everywhere, so be really careful, but this particular cutting board that I have does clean up very nicely. So you don't have to worry about all these little root-like bits on it. I could have left this end on. I just took that off because it will work a little bit nicely and more nicely in the foil if I do that. But you're going to do that to each of these beets. The next step is that I set up a little assembly line where I have a little piece of foil with a dot of olive oil on it for each beet. And so I'll take each beet and rub it in the olive oil that's on its piece of foil. Do each one separately. I'll wash my hands so that I can touch the outsides of the foil without making a mess and wrap up each beet. Some people are afraid to work with beets because of the fear of having red hands, but as you can see, I touch these cut up beets and my hands are not red at all. Each beet has been wrapped in its bit of foil and will go on the baking pan. These beets are now ready to go into a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes to an hour. It's been about 45 minutes and the beets have just come out of the oven. So I want to show you what you're looking for so that you can tell whether or not they're done and where we go from there. The way that you can tell whether or not your beets are done is if you take a knife with a thin blade and just insert it into one of the beets, you don't get any resistance. This is another reason why I wanted you to put this on another foil-lined pan, as you can see how the beets leaked a little bit around the edges. And so you won't have to be cleaning all of that up off of your pan because of this sheet of foil. So I'm gonna open each one of these packets. I've had them out of the oven for a couple of minutes, and so you might wanna use some kind of heat-resistant gloves if you need to. But I just open up each one of these little beet packets and let them cool off a little bit until we can handle them. I need to peel these beets while they're still warm, but not so hot that I can't work with them. So what I do is put each beet in my hand with a paper towel, and the beet skins just rub right off. And so I go ahead and I do that with each of the beets and then transfer them over to a cutting board for the next step. Now that my beets have been peeled, I'm going to chop these into nice sized chunks for putting on a salad. Now that the beets are chopped up but still warm, I want to add a little bit of balsamic vinegar to these. This is a lemon balsamic vinegar. You can use whatever you like, but I'm just going to mix this in well and then let these sit in the refrigerator and chill and mix with that lemon flavored balsamic vinegar. And I'll show you what I do with this tonight for dinner. I want to talk to you for just a second about the lemon balsamic vinegar that I used on those beets to marinate them. So just about every city has some kind of an olive oil and vinegar store. It's a little bit different quality than what you might normally find in your supermarket. But the one that I used was a lemon balsamic vinegar. I picked it up from Oliveto in Roanoke, Virginia when I was on a recent trip there. If there's no store like that near you, most of these stores ship, and I'll link to Oliveto in case you're interested in it. But anyway, it's just a different quality of olive oils and vinegars, and they have other spice blends and things too, usually available in these kinds of shops. But there's also some debate in the WW community about whether or not you count points in balsamic vinegar. I never did. And that hasn't hurt me. I had an over 65-pound weight loss, but just do what you're comfortable with and what works for you. I'm also not counting the little bit of olive oil that I rubbed on these beets to roast them, because I'm then peeling the outside off. And so I'm counting these beets as 0 points because I'm not counting that tiny bit of olive oil I roasted them in or the balsamic vinegar. But if you feel like you need to count a couple of points for this, go ahead. You're probably going to be fine either way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and admit that I am pretty pleased with myself over how these beets turned out. They are absolutely beautiful, and they smell amazing because of that lemon balsamic vinegar I put on them. I could have also put some grated lemon zest on there. I had a choice of vinegar. I could have used a plain dark balsamic vinegar. I could have used, and I think this would have been really interesting, I have a Cara vanilla balsamic vinegar, and maybe just that, or that with some orange zest might have been interesting. But I'm going to show you a salad that you can make with this, and it's pretty simple to do. So I'm going to take my camera and point it down here and let you see what I've got going on. To this bowl of spinach, I'm going to add some of my beets, and I'm not going to make a dressing because the juice that occurs down in this bowl from the beet juice and the lemon balsamic vinegar is its own dressing, really. So I'm just going to get a good spoonful of that liquid and pour it over my greens. Isn't that pretty? This is so good. Add a little bit more beet there. So far, I'm not counting any points for the spinach, the beets, or that balsamic vinegar. I never have counted balsamic vinegar as points. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of roasted salted pumpkin seeds. That is going to add 1 point for these 2 tablespoons. Now, if I want to put a cheese on this salad, I could put 2 tablespoons of feta for 1 point, or excuse me, for 2 points. Or I could add, which I haven't had in a while, a little bit of Boursin cheese for a couple of points. So I'm going to crumble a little bit of Boursin cheese over this, and I'm going to be kind of liberal and count that as 2 points. So we have 0 points from the spinach or the beets, and I'm going to count 3 points altogether for those 2 tablespoons of roasted salted pumpkin seeds and the Boursin cheese. This is an amazing, delicious salad, and I hope you will give it a try. So thanks for visiting me here again at Amy Common Sense Southern. I hope you will try this delicious salad with beets. You don't have to put these beets on a salad. You could just eat them straight out of the bowl. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.